Hi, I'm Morgan.
And I'm Jake, and this is
Neverland Navigation Radio.
where we learn our scales and arpeggios
Oh, yes.
and dive deep through the songbook of Walt Disney World.
I love an Aristocats reference.
Deep cut. Scales and arpeggios, do people know that one?
If they watch Aristocats, they do.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Aristocats, that one, Everybody Wants to Be a Cat.
Oh my gosh, I love the soundtrack.
And the music doesn't end there. Music is like such an important part of the Disney World experience, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Whether you're talking about the movies or whether you're talking about the parks, for sure.
Absolutely. How are you today, Morgan?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm feeling musical and magical.
Oh, good.
And mouseical?
That one was a stretch.
All right. I'm glad you're here to keep me honest. Today we're going to be going through some lists. We've each got our lists of our top 10 uses of music or song in the parks.
Yeah.
Walt Disney World based.
When I made my list, I was thinking of this stuff I'd like to listen to before going on a Disney trip.
I did that a little today.
Oh, nice.
I listened while I was thinking of what to put on my list. I listened through the official Walt Disney World cast album, which has not been updated since 2013.
Okay.
But it's got a lot of the hits on there.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little walk back through the history of Walt Disney World as well, because it's got the original recordings from the original iterations of Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, all of those things.
So this is my favorite way to get amped up for a trip. Right. So when we used to live in Tennessee and we had a trip coming up, I would start playing Parks music. And there's a few places you can listen to Parks music. I mean, you could buy an album from Disney, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are also a few apps that you can download, Parks Radio type apps, or people have put lists on Spotify even.
Yes, and playlists on Spotify or Apple Music, YouTube playlists. There are a bunch of YouTube videos that are just compilations of different songs from across the parks. So there's a lot of ways to get your pre-game magical park fix pre-music.
I mean, this idea is kind of like, have you had to call the number before, the customer service number?
Of course I have. Of
course you have.
Everyone has.
Right. And as sometimes terrible as that can be because of the very long waits that we have had to endure occasionally, the music they play is just
fun.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
adds a dash of fun.
And if you're playing that kind of music when you're packing for a trip or planning a trip, oh my God, you just can't not be in that magic mood.
Yes, I can't listen to those recordings without, in my mind, thinking about what part of the ride I'm on, imagining the feelings. If you're listening to a part of an attraction score and that's the part where you drop, or that's the part where the wind blows across your face, all of it comes right to mind, almost like a muscle memory or sensory response to hearing the music. And it is a really good way to get you optimistic about all of the things that you'll get to experience in full once you arrive at the parks.
Right. I really love the ones that have even the speeches.
Yes. I was listening through, and on the Little Mermaid one, they even have Sebastian telling you, exit to the left, it's got all the little bits in it.
That's funny.
And I really like that. That ride also has one of my favorite breakdown spiels, which is Sebastian saying, it must be that sea witch, which I think is so cute.
Too. So creative.
Yeah.
Instead of just, we're having an issue, please stay in your seat.
Very Disney of
Let's
them
theme it.
Yes, in every job that must be done, there is an element of fun.
Right.
So when your ride breaks down, you might as well have Sebastian come in.
Tell you that it's the sea witch's fault. For sure, I love it. There was once I was listening to Disney Parks Radio, and the whole the Great Movie Ride spiel came on, and I texted Jake, and I'm like, oh my god, Jake.
I listened to it immediately.
Jake, Guess what I'm listening to?
It is,
yeah. Tune in.
Seriously, and I did, and it's so fun. Especially for the rides that aren't here anymore.
So yes.
It is really nice to at least have the full HD audio.
Yeah.
So that you can relive it, because I can remember it all so vividly. It's almost like I'm there.
It's as good as it's going to get right now, unfortunately. Well.
So look how important music is.
Yeah.
Not only for nostalgia or hype up purposes,
right,
but also for archival,
right,
historical purposes. I'm so glad we've got these documents of these experiences so that they can be enjoyed by generations who never got to.
Absolutely.
One of my major regrets is that I never got to experience Horizons, the famed Epcot attraction.
Yeah.
But it's got such a whimsical score, and I'm so glad that it's been preserved on the internet.
See, and even for me, I did get to experience Horizons, and I remember the fight with my brother over whether we were going to go into space or go into sea or go to the desert, although nobody chose that.
Right.
But I was too young to like even remember the music. So I would have to listen to it to remember it, because I was at such a young age that all I really remember is the fight. You know what I mean? I remember like bits and pieces.
Right.
Although you kind of wonder if some of that gets implanted, you know, because now because now I've seen the walkthrough of the ride, so I now know, you know what I mean?
Right. Is your brain pulling pieces of that, filling in gaps where it's not supposed to be filled?
Yeah.
I think about that often on my experiences at the parks when I was younger.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll have to Google stuff and be like, was there a giant Coca-Cola bottle that squirted mist from its cap in MGM Studios in the 90s? Or am I just like imagining that? But it was real.
Yeah, it was real.
So it's fun to Google those things.
So that made a core memory for you for some reason.
Well, yeah, it's just something that popped into my mind, and I thought to myself, am I thinking of that right? Or did that really happen? But lo and behold, there she blows.
There was a giant Coca-Cola thing in like 3 of the parks, huh?
Yeah, Coca-Cola. That must have been...
There was an Epcot one, a one in Tomorrowland. Where was it in MGM?
In MGM, it was in the backlot area. It was by backlot, but not quite in front of the tour entrance, more by like the restrooms and stuff.
I can picture the other 2, but not that one.
I
do believe you though.
It was right next to a snack stand that was shaped like a 6-pack of Coca-Cola bottles. And it also had a Coca-Cola bottle next to it that the cap was open and it squirted out the
Misters are always welcome, you know?
Yes.
Like, I love a good mister.
I honestly wish there were more.
I do too. They've kind of like not done as many recently.
Do you know what I also wish? I had more than 10 spots for this list, because as I was going through the music of Walt Disney World, there's so many things I wish I could include. But I am happy with the 10 I picked. Do you have honorable mentions?
Oh, did you do an order? I couldn't do an order.
I kind of did an order, but honestly, it's kind of splitting hairs.
Yes.
Because I picked 10 bangers.
I do have some honorable mentions.
Okay. Do we want to go through our honorable mentions?
But how much you want to bet some of my honorable mentions are on your list?
We just won't say anything. Poker face for the honorable mentions.
Oh, good.
And then if they pop back up, it's fine. I won't even look at you. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. You want to go first?
With my honorable mentions? Sure. Okay, so for honorable mentions, I put a couple of songs that are Disney Parks, original songs that are controversial in that some people find them annoying and some people find them lovable and charming and nostalgic. And so for me, they're not like something I would turn on, but I appreciate them from a nostalgic point of view.
Okay.
And that is It's a Small World.
It's on my honorable mentions as well.
Oh, okay. I thought it would be on your full list. Because he's It's a Small World fan, but that's really because of the animatronics and the like set design, right?
Yes, the dolls, the sets, all of that is what really does it for me. The design of the whole thing.
Sure.
I do enjoy the song. I do like the song.
I don't hate the song.
It's a Sherman Brothers classic.
Some people hate the song.
It does have a reputation of being annoying, and because of the fact that it is so repetitive, that's why it doesn't crack my top 10.
Because it's so repetitive, I'm not going to turn it on.
But it is an iconic piece of Disney music.
Yes.
So,
agreed. And then my other one that kind of falls along that same, God, all those same things, all of them, is the Tiki Room. Tiki.
It's also on my honorable mentions for that same reason.
Right. So I appreciate it for the nostalgia.
And when you're in, I will say, it is much better when you're there and experiencing it. Because there's more to focus on. If you're just playing the song, it's like almost too much to bear.
Although, when Bailey was little, she used to just randomly go, Tiki Room. And it was like the cutest thing ever.
That is cute.
Because she was like 6, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So for me, it's got a little place in my heart for that reason. Do you have any others?
I'm going to rapid fire because I have a ton.
Oh, go.
And just don't say anything because I'm sure you're going to have some of these on your list.
I'm going to just take a drink of my drink and not look at you. Okay, go.
It's a Small World, Tiki Room, Kitchen Cabaret, Wishes, Food Rocks, As We Go On from Illuminations, Listen to the Land, Tomorrow's Child from Spaceship Earth, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind and Mission Breakout, Rock and Roller Coaster, Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage, The Great Movie Ride, Mary Poppins and the Wizard of Oz and the Great Movie Ride, and Nothing Can Stop Us Now from Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which I actually think that song is maybe the best part of that attraction.
Okay, so none of those that you mentioned were on my list, but now that you mention it, except for some of them kind of are in a weird way, because there were a few where instead of naming one specific song, I kind of went, this basic genre of, like, you'll get it when I get there.
Okay.
But, I mean, now that you mention it, I cannot believe I didn't put Guardians of the Galaxy on my list.
You didn't put Guardians?
No.
I swore you were going to have it on your list.
It should be.
Yeah.
This was a wild oversight on my part.
That will be a tie with something else on your list.
I hear those songs and I think of Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think of the ride. Although those, like, specific songs that are on the ride, they do just remind me of the ride, so shame on me.
Well, I'll tell you the reason they weren't on mine is because I really prioritize music that was specifically written and created for the parks.
Yeah,
that
me
was
too.
like, honestly, that was probably the biggest criteria.
That's why I didn't include Aerosmith, and I did think about it, but I didn't include it because I was like, these songs existed before the
music in The Great Movie Ride is iconic. Follow the Yellow Brick Road, the entertainer sequence they play over the montage at the end, that piano bit. Hooray for Hollywood at the launch, the musical sequence with Mary Poppins, Footlight Parade, Singing in the Rain, all of those amazing songs.
Yeah.
But they're not originals, you know? They're just these beautifully, artistically compiled and arranged scores that they kind of all put together for the ride. But original music gets top billing in my world.
Right. That being said, now if I was going to make a playlist right now, I would probably include some of those songs.
Yep, can't do it without.
Especially with Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind being my all-time favorite ride.
Right. I mean, those songs. I will say, I cannot hear
September.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World. September. Well, hope this isn't a spoiler for people who haven't gotten the songs yet, but surely by now
I think
everybody
it's
at least
so
knows.
Out there now because the ride opened a year ago.
Right. Sorry, not sorry. I guess on that one.
Yeah. Well, we're just like, I think it's been long enough.
Yeah.
At the beginning, people were really, really wondering and didn't want spoilers on that, but I think now.
Right. It's been a minute.
I hope. If anybody's mad at us, I'm very sorry.
Sorry. Before we dive in, I got some information from the internet for some things I was curious about, and I want to credit who I got them from. ASCAP, which is the website where songwriters and producers go to legally register the credits for their songs, got information from there. And of course, Wikipedia, Disney Wiki, and Intercot, which is like a really cool fan-made Epcot index of all stuff historical Epcots with links to Disney archives and local newspapers and
You
stuff.
did research. For this one, I was like, top 10, I'm just using my head.
Well, it's mostly my head, but there are some things I was curious about, like the composer and stuff, so I just did a quick Google, but I didn't want to, like, take the information and not credit, so at least it's there. All right, Morgan. Hey, I don't think it matters who starts first, but what do you say?
Okay, are you saying you want me to start first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I mean, last time it was my turn.
Oh, that means I'll start first.
Okay.
All right, to keep things in order. We're going to start off with a personal favorite of mine, but one that I think deserves a spot on the list. And that is the song Happily Ever After. Now, I know. All I ever talk about is Happily Ever After. But I think this is a really good song, and it's got a kind of interesting origin story that I remember reading about it, but then completely forgot about until I was Googling for this.
Okay, I don't know the origin story, so I'm really excited to hear.
Happily Ever After was not written for our Magic Kingdom.
Oh.
Can you believe?
Wow.
Happily Ever After, the song, originates from Hong Kong Disneyland, and it was written as the theme song for their 10th anniversary celebration. Isn't that wild?
May I ask a possibly ignorant question?
Yes.
In English?
Not in English.
Okay.
So, that song was written for them, and then they used it as the theme song for a show there called Mickey and His Wondrous Book. So it has been used in celebrations and in a show, so it has had quite the life before it even made its way to Florida. It was re-orchestrated, and the lyrics were translated, rewritten in English, and it got the billing as the big fireworks song for the Magic Kingdom Nighttime Spectacular, Happily Ever After. In our version of the song, it's sung by Jordan Fisher and Angie Kielhauer. Sorry if I got her last name wrong.
You tried.
She's got a great voice. I love her in the song. Jordan Fisher, though, a lot of people might know from Rent Live. He was in Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, if anyone's ever heard of that.
Wow.
He's kind of a fixture in the like musical theater side of things, and he's a massive Disney World fan. So much so that when Disney Enchantment came around to replace Happily Ever After, a couple of months after it had been there, he tweeted, "Is Happily Ever After coming back? We all miss it." And it's so funny because he sang on it. We were all feeling it. So that was a fun moment in Disney internet history, I would say, for one of the voices of the song to be like, hey, when are we bringing this back? But overall, the song is like a soft rock pop type song, very much a modern Disney kind of song, as opposed to something more orchestral or choir oriented. But it's got this big, grand, energetic feeling. It is supremely optimistic in a way that Walt Disney would appreciate. And I think it really does a good job of tying together the themes that bring all of the stories that you see on the castle together, which is like an optimism for a better tomorrow, a longing for a sense of acceptance and community. All of those themes kind of weave together through the song, and I think it's orchestrated very brilliantly, very grandly. I think it's a good fit for where it's at, so it makes my list.
To play devil's advocate, do you find a lot of the fireworks songs to be similar? Or is that just me?
I do. I think especially, I thought this while we were watching Epcot Forever recently. Some of the arrangements that they do on the big choral, like huge chorus songs and the big flourishing strings, I often think to myself that it's like how I sometimes feel about the Marvel movies, which is if it's at a 10 all the time, it can be hard to like appreciate the highs and lows sometimes.
Okay.
And that is something that I think happens in like the fireworks songs and stuff, where they all start to sound alike and they're all very big and grand and inspiring, not expiring. But this one, I don't know. I think this one does a little bit of a better job. I think because in part it's very different in tone from some of the other songs in Happily Ever After. Some of the main songs in Happily Ever After are Out There from Hunchback, Go the Distance from Hercules, these big sweeping strings and things. And then Happily Ever After is like a rock, a pop rock track. So it kind of cuts through nicely by the end of the show.
Okay.
Offers some texture and variety.
Sure. All right. So I'm going to go ahead with my, I guess, number 10. Although this is going to be a loose order.
No need to enumerate
the best ones for the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to, and you went so fast. I guess you could have thrown some of the ones I'm going to say in there, and I just missed it in your honorable mentions. But one of my favorite weird Disney, not weird, it's weird because I think most people probably think this is from the movie and it's not, is the Big Blue World song from the Nemo, which it's from the Broadway, huh?
Well, yes, it's from Finding Nemo the musical, which was created specifically for Animal Kingdom.
So for Disney parks, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
This is my 9. Finding Nemo in general.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. So I'm putting it as my 10. So
perfect.
Yeah, we're there. Yeah, I think that the music really. I don't know. I love that song specifically. Yes. You can go on since this is now your number 9.
Oh no, that's all right.
I wrote down the name of that song.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
I also love that it's in the Nemo ride at Epcot.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh yes, and in the musical in Animal Kingdom.
Yes, funny.
It's a two.
Funny because I didn't even think of it as being in the, which it is.
Right.
But I was just thinking of the song in the ride because we go on the ride all the time.
Right.
I don't actually see the musical Nemo very often.
I haven't seen it in years.
But it's been a long time now.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me too. The last time I saw it, it was my birthday years ago, and they sat me front row because I saw it was my birthday. It was very cute. I had a very good time. Finding the Nemo musical is actually quite good. It is.
So that's your number 9.
That is my number 9.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. So I guess technically my number 10 is actually the ride, but same song. So it really doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, it is the same song, the big main song. Finding Nemo the musical has a lot of songs, but that's like definitely the theme. You know what I mean? So it was really cool when they also then went back and incorporated it into the Epcot ride because it's never been done before.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo the musical is actually a lot of firsts for Disney. It was the first non-musical movie that they ever attempted to make a musical out of. So it was the first time there were no songs, and then they added songs where there were no songs before for the parks. Kind of a big endeavor. Who did they tap to do it? Kristen Anderson and Bobby Lopez, who were nobodies almost at the time that they were working for Disney.
But
now they're everywhere and everything. They wrote the music for, I don't know if you've heard of it, Frozen. Frozen 2. They're kind of also huge deals in musical theater. Robert Lopez also did Avenue Q, which is a huge Broadway show. But Disney, Kristen Anderson Lopez did an interview for this years after the fact, and where they asked her about Finding Nemo the musical, and she was like, "It's actually a funny story. They just found a college project or like a writing project of mine where I had done a short musical adaptation of, oh God, I want to say it was The Odyssey." And they had found it and really liked it and approached them to do the music for Finding Nemo the musical because they needed theme park music.
Wow.
And they took it, and now they are like probably the biggest power players in the themed writing industry.
Wow.
So it's kind of a wild story how they got there.
It really is. Yeah.
Theater in the wild.
Yeah.
Am I right? It's a big blue world.
Yeah.
That music is great.
Absolutely. Okay, wait, so am I going to my number 9
Yeah,
now?
do your number 9. That feels right.
All right. For my number 9, I am going to have to go with the Flight of Passage music.
Ooh.
Is this on your list?
No, I didn't think of it.
You don't love the ride that much.
No, I do really like the ride, but I've only done it twice. So I don't feel like I've really even gotten to
For me, this is a must-do ride when you go to Animal Kingdom, although that line, well, I'm... especially back when we had fast passes, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was a bit more of something that we could do.
When you could get a fast pass for it, it was like a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was kind of hard to get a fast pass for, a fast pass plus for. I would say unless you're getting Disney Genie Plus,
then you have to pay for it.
Then you'd have to. Well,
no, it's got an individual lightning lane.
Well, yeah, if you're doing Disney Genie Plus, even then, you're going to have to do an individual lightning lane for Flight of Passage, or else you're going to have to spend a large chunk of your Animal Kingdom day waiting in the line for this one.
Right.
There are some exceptions when it's like toward the end of the day, especially on a rainy day, it tends to get a little bit more accessible wait time-wise.
The whole park
Yeah,
drops.
The whole park does drop off in attendance after the sunset.
Yeah.
Like a herd migration.
Yes, for real. But the music, I think this is one that I find really transportive. If it's playing while you're packing or whatever, you're just kind of there when you hear it. And that's what I was looking for in these songs.
Yes, it is like that one's all instrumental, right? It's all orchestra.
Right.
It is from I have gone back and listened to it since the ride. But I listened to it's on that album I was talking about. The Navi River Journey music is also quite beautiful, it turns out.
Yeah.
There's another attraction I have not done a lot, but between the two of them, if Pandora accomplishes nothing, it is complete immersion.
Absolutely.
It is all about immersion in every sensory way that you can experience it. So it makes sense the music is just as enchanting.
Right.
You know?
Right. And with the ride being as immersive as it is, that I feel like any sense you get from it is going to take you right back there. Does that make sense?
Yes, because
I feel like the smell too.
You can picture it. Yeah. The smell of it, this is reminding me very much of another one I have on my list. We'll save for later.
Yeah.
I should say my number 9, it was Finding Nemo the musical, but I also put that as a tie with Festival of the Lion King.
Oh, okay.
It's my only tie. I felt terrible not having Festival of the Lion King in there because this is my one thing that is not original music.
I was gonna say
on my entire list, and that's honestly probably why it's a tie.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that these songs were rearranged for this is masterful. Some of them sound like brand new songs at times, so it feels like their version of The Lion Sleeps Tonight that they do in this, which is a full audience crowd participation type of moment where everybody does different parts.
Right.
It's quite beautiful, but also the singing in this show is beyond amazing.
Yeah.
Some of the best singing on property.
The Lion Sleeps Tonight is not in The Lion King, but it's in the second one, right? The 1.5.
At some point, Timon and Pumbaa and Simba are singing it or something.
Okay.
But it's not like, it's not, they didn't write it for the movie.
Right.
It's actually a song from, I think, the 50s or something. There's an entire documentary about how it's based on an African song. And then they took it, rewrote it, then Disney got a hold of it, put it in The Lion King. It's got its own long
it was
history.
in Ace Ventura back in the day.
Right. It's lived quite the life.
Yeah.
But The Lion King, the music in that is gorgeous. 4 live vocalists as well who sing throughout the entire duration of the show and do a fantastic job.
Ultra talented.
Every night. So it just had to get a shout out for me because it's kind of rare in a theme park to experience like such a magnificent amount of vocal talent.
Oh, yeah.
All at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which you really get from that ride. So it was worth
both
mentioning.
of those shows, yeah.
And Finding Nemo, also insane talent vocally, but also like the puppetry of all of it.
Gosh.
Some of them have huge puppets on their back.
Yeah.
And all at the same, so much coordination.
Absolutely.
Some of them are like skating around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Lots of talent. Yes. Did you want me to go on to my number 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Funky.
Okay.
It is called We Are Here to Change the World, and it is from Captain EO.
Oh, wow.
Okay. This does not exist anymore. It existed twice at Epcot.
Twice.
Well, yeah, because it came back after Michael Jackson died. They did the Captain EO tribute, and they brought it back for a little bit. It's Michael Jackson because he was the star of the 1986 3D film Captain EO, which was shown at Epcot Center, Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris. Captain EO is like this space ranger kind of guy, and he's on an adventure with his friends to go save the world from a supreme leader played by Angelica Houston.
Naturally.
Who, they have to unlock her beauty and her minions' beauty, and then they save the planet with this dance number. Which is like the most 80s Michael Jackson music video sci-fi thing you could ever imagine. But you have to, when you look past the ridiculousness of it, this is a huge deal because it was Michael Jackson, who is the world's biggest star.
Right.
Starring in a film directed by Francis Ford Coppola, who had done The Godfather. Produced by George Lucas of Star Wars fame. This was also the first 4D movie, kind of. It was a 3D movie that had fog in the theater, a star field projection in the theater, laser effects, and all kinds of stuff.
Sounds 4D too.
It was like a massively immersive sci-fi musical production starring the world's biggest pop star.
Yeah. Wow.
Michael Jackson was a lover of Walt Disney World, did commercials for them, was constantly in the parks, is famously photographed in the Epcot Rainbow Tunnel from the Imagination Pavilion. So he already had quite the relationship with Disney, but this was like such a big scale, splashy thing. Had 2 Michael Jackson songs in it, Another Part of Me, which eventually ended up on the Bad album.
Oh.
And it's still played in Epcot at special events, which is fun.
Okay.
And the other one is We Are Here to Change the World, which is kind of the big climactic moment of the scene where they're face to face with the enemy and they do this big flash dance type number to, resolve the plot.
Yeah, wow.
It's a good one. You should look it up. It actually wasn't available for public consumption until they released a Michael Jackson Ultimate Collection box set in 2004. Prior to that, you couldn't even hear it. It was only in the Captain EO film.
Oh, wow.
And that is not available on streaming or whatever, so you either have to buy the collection or find it on the deep channels of the internet.
Sure.
So it's kind of still a rarity.
When they brought it back, do you know if it was identical?
It was. The film was identical, but they did not include all of the same special effects because some of them would require a long-term installation. They would have to do a whole modification of the theater. So they kind of just stuck it in there, added the fog, added some of the effects, and kind of did a little tribute to it, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
That's my number 8.
Okay.
We Are Here to Change the World.
Do you want me to go?
I would.
All right. My next one is Fantasmic.
Oh, this is on my list.
Okay.
I love the Fantasmic music.
I love the Fantasmic music too. I really like listening to the entire thing. Mm-hmm. Everything included.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is just for me, this is my favorite nighttime spectacular songs.
Yes. Well, it is obviously a bunch of songs together in a suite, but
that one, yeah.
Yes. It's such an iconic score.
Yeah.
And it sums up the feeling of the show so nicely.
Yeah, I think so too. For me, it sums up the feeling of nighttime at Disney.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very energetic and peppy.
I like that it has stayed the same for all these years.
Consistency.
For me, that's been kind of the problem with the other ones. Especially Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
They've changed songs 4 times in the last, I don't know, 10 years or more.
Yeah, Happily Ever After has been around since 2015, but it did have, 2 years where Enchantment was up in there?
Yeah. And you said it's a little different now, right? So
Well, they've just added. They added Projections Down Main Street. That's the only... all the songs are
so there was Wishes, and then there was Happily, and then there was Enchantment, and
before that, there was Sorcery.
So the song is identical?
The Happily Ever After song, yes.
Okay. I thought that they changed it. But I haven't seen it since it came back.
Thank goodness
just came back.
It's still there. I've seen it a bunch. I think I've seen it twice now that it's reopened, and it's still intact.
Okay, well, then if you want to call it that. But, I mean, if you want to call it changed, I guess you wouldn't call the song changed. But anyway, Fantasmic has been the same song since I was a kid.
Yes, it was written for Disneyland when their Fantasmic opened in 1992. So it's been around for a hot minute.
Yeah.
This was composed by Bruce Healey.
Oh.
I don't know who that is, but I would like to thank him so much for his contribution because I really think it's
an icon.
And not only is it an icon for Fantasmic, but I also think it fits Hollywood studios so well.
Yeah.
It was composed for Disney, for Disneyland.
Right.
But it's got that big, brassy, big budget Hollywood sound that I think is the perfect soundtrack for the whole Mickey's Imagination thing. I think they nailed it.
Right. And I think it's very identifiable. You hear it.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
And also, I think it says a lot that of all of the Disney music there was to pick from, we both chose Fantasmic to be on here.
Right.
Yeah. Says a lot about that score. Not a lyric in the main theme of that, all orchestral, but...
I think that most of my favorite ones, not most, but a lot of my favorite ones are just...
Orchestra.
Orchestra.
Yeah. There's something about that grand, sweeping melody that really,
Yeah.
It feels Disney.
And you're in the ride when you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you don't need the words.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, sometimes you don't. Sometimes that's what it's about, is that big, grand feeling.
Yeah. What do you have next?
For number 7, our lucky number, I have One Little Spark, which is from Journey into Imagination.
I almost asked if this was on your... if you had said it earlier on your honorable mentions.
No, it's here.
Okay,
it's here. On my list.
It's here. It's here. I would put this in honorable mentions. I do love it.
Yes. The reason that I picked this is because I think it is perfect for Epcot and perfect for its attraction.
Catchy.
Oh, yeah. To say nothing of the fact that it is like, the melody of it is delicious and you want to sing it all the time. Yeah. That's great.
They also use this in Epcot, in some of Epcot's background music, like the orchestrational. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it makes good. It makes good land music, ambient music, because it's like peppy and cheerful and optimistic about the future and all the things that Epcot is supposed to be.
Right.
It was written by the Sherman Brothers, which explains why it's so great. If you guys don't know about the Sherman Brothers, they were kind of Walt Disney's go-to favorite songwriting team. They wrote the music for Mary Poppins, which was a hugely personal and extremely successful film for Walt Disney. So when it came time to craft music for Disneyland, Magic Kingdom, Epcot,
they did a lot of parks music.
The Sherman Brothers seemed like a natural fit, and they composed this little ditty for the original iteration of the Imagination ride.
Right.
It existed in that ride as a full song sang by Dreamfinder and Figment. Mm-hmm. Then it was replaced by that terrible version that only lasted for 2 years.
Yes.
It existed in that, but only instrumentally. They didn't ever sing it. And then, of course, it's in the current version as a duet between Figment and Eric Idle.
Okay.
Dr. Nigel Channing. Yeah. This one definitely is one of the earworms of Walt Disney World. It so gets stuck in your head.
Absolutely. But at least not as much in a repetitive way, right?
No. Yeah, I mean, it is repetitive in the fact that it's the same notes, but all the lyrics are different.
That's what I mean.
It's actually quite hard to remember all of the lyrics sometimes, because it's the same melody, but different lyrics each time. It's one of those. So
but you sang it while we were on the ride once, so...
Oh, it is true.
The audio went out we were riding the ride, and the audio went out, and Jake filled in for everybody.
I would like to point out, though, that it is the part of the song where it's just sing-along, and the words are on the screen, but nobody knew the melody. So I was just singing along. Yeah. I would not have done that in another part of the ride, because it would be rude to the other guests. You know what I mean?
Don't think so.
I'm just trying to be mindful of everyone's experience. I felt okay in the sing-along
We were both very mindful of other people's experience. You also weren't loud.
Right.
The people behind us just happened to hear and then applaud.
Yeah, that was cute. I was happy to do Figment Shop for him. It was so awkward to be in that room with no sound.
Silent.
In the musical part. Yeah. I was like, oh no.
Weird.
These poor people who might be writing this for the first time.
Yeah.
All right, that means it's on to your number 7?
I guess.
All right.
Actually, my number 7 really hooks on to your... Was that number 7?
Yes.
Because I wrote down specifically Epcot entrance music, although I'm not talking about the Epcot entrance music right now. I'm talking about the Epcot entrance music before they recently changed it. Recently?
Yes, the past couple of years.
Yeah. But really, this is going to be an umbrella entrance music one for me, because I think the entrance music... Although now that I think of it, I can't even hear in my head what the entrance music at Animal Kingdom sounds like, but I'm sure that it exists.
I'm sure it is jungly and full of drums and animal sounds, and probably the chanting of multiple different cultures.
Yeah. Okay. I just can't hear it. But the Epcot one I can hear.
I can't hear the Animal Kingdom one either. Maybe Animal Kingdom needs new entrance music. Because we can't even put our finger on it.
Right.
I can think of all 3 of the other ones.
Yeah, me too.
I know exactly what songs are in them.
Yeah. And they all have that vibe that just gets you in the mood before you even walk into the entrance turnstile thing. And I specifically love the Epcot one because of it having the little snippets of like Soarin'. It did. and stuff like
One Little Spark.
Honey, I Shrunk the Audience was in there.
Yes.
I don't know. Anyway, I really like the mood setting ability that they tapped into by doing this entrance music that most people aren't even aware is happening.
Absolutely. It is like its own art for sure. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of subconscious.
It is. It really is.
Because whether you know, and I think the Epcot one, like you're saying, the Epcot one that we kind of remember from previously, I think that one did such a good job of subconsciously the optimism in the music.
Yeah.
Because it also was the world of energy, or the universe of energy music, and the test track music.
And innovations and or interventions.
Yeah.
And it
was quirky, it was fun.
It's so specific Epcot. It's quirky and fun, but also like futuristic in a weird way.
Yes, and also kind of 80s, but also kind of like miraculous and grand and futuristic. It had a lot going on, but it really all came together to make you feel like you were stepping into Epcot, which is the whole point.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking up to see if there is. Of course, there's Animal Kingdom entrance music. I'm surprised. I'm surprised with how much you and I pay attention to details that we can't identify it. But this is the park we go to the least, not because we don't love it, because it's so far away and it's not connected.
And also, I will say that by the time I'm done trudging through the Animal Kingdom parking lot, I am really trying to get through the turnstile.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because there are no trams right now. When trams come back, it won't be so bad.
For real. Yeah.
Right now, I am trying to get
there are trams in Animal Kingdom now. We just haven't been there since they brought them back.
Exactly.
They brought them back to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. We're waiting on the other two parks. It is absolutely ridiculous to me that they're not in all four parks.
Criminal.
I think about it every time we park.
Criminal.
Every time we park, I'm like, staffing shortage, but you've got 8 people just standing there.
The Disney World announced either today or yesterday that, well, not for you listening, in our timeline, today or yesterday, that there's going to be pass holder days coming to Walt Disney World with like an increased percentage of discount and our own rest area. If you want to show the pass holders that you appreciate them, bring back the parking trams because we're tired of walking through the parking lot.
How funny. You're so funny. I saw the notification on my phone and I tried to click it and just missed it. And then I went to my notifications and it wasn't there anymore. So then I went into the Disney World app and like it just went to wait times. And I was like, what is happening?
Oh,
You
no.
just sent a notification to me. Something happened and I don't know what it is because I didn't click fast enough.
You're some web developers like worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even happen?
I mean, I just don't understand why I couldn't find it after I missed the click.
Yeah. It's probably in your email. Surely.
Maybe I didn't even.
They tend to.
Yeah, I just thought I'll go straight into the app and it'll be.
That's the whole point, is for convenience. So that would be nice.
Anyway.
All right.
We're not here to complain.
What's your number 6? Or am I doing number 6?
Go ahead.
My number 6 is Soarin'.
Oh, Soarin's on my list, yeah.
What is Soarin' on your list?
Oh,
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it would be down here. It would be at number 6, probably.
I have some interesting...
I would for sure put it at number 6. So, yay. Great.
I have some interesting information from this that comes from Spectral Radio, who's a cool show that does interviews.
Look at you researching.
Sometimes. Just a little, because this story really stuck out to me. So, obviously, the music for Soarin' was first composed for Soarin' Over California.
Right.
Because that is the original one from California Adventure in February of 2001. But I guess Soarin' is a big old flight simulator. Mm-hmm. You get on these little benches that lift up into the sky and you're taken into a screen that kind of takes you now all over the world to a bunch of famous monuments and makes you feel like you're flying.
To take you over California, even the one in Florida.
Yeah.
The one in Florida also took you over California. I have found that there's some confusion about that.
Yeah.
We don't mean the Disneyland version.
To be fair,
mean the original version.
It is confusing. Jerry Goldsmith is a composer. He has composed soundtracks for movies like Planet of the Apes, Chinatown, Poltergeist, Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and randomly Disney's Mulan. So he's got quite the array of composing experience.
Range. Holy cow.
Range.
Yeah.
So much range.
Those films are so different.
Even just Star Trek to Mulan.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah.
It's so wild. Anyway, so he's clearly got...
Poltergeist?
Poltergeist.
Oh my God.
So he's clearly got quite some, like, ability.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hey, you did not get typecast.
Right.
Guy.
They informed
Sir.
him... This is such a sweet story. I've never heard, really, of this person.
Mm-hmm.
But, they gave him the idea for what Soren was going to be.
Uh-huh.
And when they found him, he was crying. And when the Imagineers asked him what he was wrong, he said nothing was wrong, but that he had two loves in life, music and flying. And this was going to be his way to combine them, which is kind of beautiful. He loved the film, and he was quoted as saying, "I'd do anything for part of this project. I'd score the film for free." But in the end, he was paid for his work.
Really?
Really, really. I think that's so cute. I think that it's great that there's so much passion put into the score.
Yeah.
And I think that it really translates because, oh my God, it feels like you're having a life-changing experience when you're on that ride.
Yes. This is one I really love to come up on, like, Disney Parks Radio. I love it. It's so transportive.
It is grand.
It is grand.
There's so many instruments in that suite.
Are you saying that the song was the same for Over California as it is for Around the World?
I think the soundtrack was different, but I think the main part of the score is in every version of Soren.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
And it should be, because the sweeping melody of it is perfect for the feeling that you're feeling.
Yeah.
There's just something about it that when it syncs up and you're like bobbing and weaving and they're playing the big loud music, it's such a big sound. I think it really clicks for the feeling of being in the sky.
Yeah.
I love the Soren music.
I do too.
And like you were saying, it being part of the Epcot music, the like welcome music rotation, it fits in so well with those original Epcot like grand, songs, because it's all the same feeling that shines through.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah.
If I do my next one, I'll be at number 5.
All right.
Did you want me to?
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to be a little bit of hitting on another one of mine, but the Carousel of Progress.
Wow.
That's got to be on your list.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, so this is on both of our lists.
For a great reason.
Yeah. This is a great song.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and say my next one after this one is Retired Ride Music,
Ooh.
The Umbrella, because the old version of Carousel of Progress is one of my favorite Disney park songs of all time, as well as like...
Now Is the Time.
Yeah, right. As well as...
You love that song more than anyone I know. I also like that song, but you love that
I think most people don't remember it.
Probably not. It wasn't around for a super long time, right? Or was it? I don't even remember.
It was around for... I'm going to look it up, but...
This was during the GE sponsorship of the Carousel of Progress. GE came in as a sponsor for the ride, and their kind of only condition was to include GE appliances throughout the thing, which is why you can still see GE appliances in some of the scenes. And then also they wanted a new song that they could use not only in the Carousel of Progress, but also in conjunction with their promotional campaigns. So that's how we got the song, Now Is the Time, Now Is the Best Time.
Now is the best time of your life, yes. And now there's like a nod to it in People Mover, which is amazing.
Oh, yeah, they just say, because now is the time, now is the best time, which I think is so cute. I love when they do little stuff like that.
The best time of your life, often mistaken. I am on Wikipedia, by the way. Now is the time. So it's often mistaken as Now is the Time, but it's called The Best Time of Your Life.
Gotcha.
is a song written by the Sherman Brothers in 1974 as the new theme song for the Carousel of Progress. So it took the place of, you know how It's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow is the current song, but it was also the original song, but not for very long for us.
Mm-hmm.
It was Walt Disney World. Yes, right. It was the original song for Disneyland and the World's Fair, right?
Yes.
I would assume.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sure I can find in here when it was changed in 1994.
Oh, that's when they changed it back.
Was refurbished along with the rest of Tomorrowland to give a retrospective. The show was rewritten to mimic the original, and the original song was restored. Yes, 1994. Wow, that's actually a lot. That change was a lot younger than I had imagined. But my dad used to sing that song all the time when I was a kid. So I'm sure I kept hearing it after it was taken away from the park.
Absolutely. That's how it goes. There's a lot of songs like that for me, where I would sing a bit of a song and all my friends would be like,
what are you talking about?
What are you doing? And I was like, you don't know that? You don't know Nothing from Nothing Leaves Nothing, but you gotta have something if you want to be with me. That hit from the 50s. You don't know about that? They'd be like, girl, no. So I totally get it. Which one did you just do?
Oh, I was saying Carousel of Progress originally, but then I jumped into my umbrella of retired music.
Oh, the retired
because
ones.
There's a bunch of them, and I just couldn't list them all. But like the Great Movie Ride, like you said, compilation. But like, especially when if you go and listen to it now because you found it on a playlist or you're just listening to it on YouTube or whatever, then you get all of the everything. You know what I mean? It's more than a song. It's not like listening to the Mary Poppins song. It's like bits of this whole ride that are an experience happening in your head.
And it truly is like a medley of Hollywood's greatest music, because like the things that they pick in there, the music from Alien, it's less about the music and more about the sound in that one.
Oh yeah, it's setting a scene. I haven't even seen the movie Alien.
Oh, okay. The way
but it makes you like scared.
Yeah, it is definitely like that kind of eerie kind of sound, like something's lurking around the corner. But like the Indiana Jones music is in there.
Yes.
The Wizard of Oz songs in there.
The Hooray for Hollywood beginning and them saying, "Ready when you are," like that, CB. That whole it's just you're there. You know what I mean?
And the first run of songs, Hooray for Hollywood, Footlight Parade, Singing in the Rain, Chim Chimmery from Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
What a great run to start your attraction.
And it's small bits, but not so small. You know what I mean? So
yes, just
it's wonderful.
A couple pieces.
Another one that falls under the retired, although I'm sure there's so many that I'm not even thinking about right now. But another big one for me personally that falls under the retired umbrella is Dreamflight, which I talked about last week, I think.
Yes.
That song just takes me back.
Yeah.
And I'm there. And it was a really good song.
Yeah. And
powerful.
In addition to them being good songs, what is so great about them is that they can ignite memories in you of the thing that you didn't even know you had.
Yeah.
That happened to me when I was listening to the Universe of Energy music, the Ellen's Energy Adventure music.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is the part where they're like discovering fire and stuff in the beginning. Like I could remember everything, which I hadn't thought about for years, just because the music brought it all back to me, which I love.
Right.
That is pretty great.
Even the cue music from Honey, I Shrunk the Audience was good.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my favorite ride, although I know a lot of people hated it, like didn't like it. I didn't not like it. I think for me it's just a bit nostalgic.
Yes, it is a bit nostalgic for me too. I didn't like parts of it. Like, I don't like anything where the things are running across your feet or across your back or whatever. But like,
I found a hack for that when I was a kid, and then like got around. I forget what was it. You sat forward. No, the thing came out from under the seat, so I would put my feet up like a little jerk in the seat.
When I was a kid, I would do that for that ride, and for for It's So Tough to Be a Bug, I would know that it stabs you in the back.
Go on It's Tough to Be a Bug?
My family, we did it all the time.
I've only been on it once. As an adult, we'll never go back on it.
I had 2 brothers. Bugs are cool in my house.
Ugh.
But in part of that, it like punches you in the back. And so I remembered when that was. So when the things are running across and they're like wiggling on your butt, I would stand. And when you're about to get punched in the back, I would sit forward. So I was like doing like Dance Dance Revolution, getting away from all the things. Because I remembered exactly when everything happened.
Yeah, I remember doing that in that one.
Yeah, you gotta avoid what you gotta avoid.
Yeah.
Speaking of retired music.
Oh, yeah.
My number 4 is retired music.
Oh, great.
It's New Horizons from the Horizons.
Oh, wow.
Soundtrack. Now, if you don't know this song, and I'm guessing that a lot of you don't, you should give it a listen, because it is the source for one of the most misattributed quotes of all time.
Oh, let's hear it.
Which is everyone putting everywhere on everything. Quote, "If you can dream it, you can do it," end quote, Walt Disney. Not true. Did not happen. That quote is from Horizons. "If you can dream it, you can do it," originated in the attraction Horizons in this song. The children sang, "If you can dream it, then you can do it."
Are you sure it didn't come from him originally?
It did not.
Oh my god.
It is one of the most misattributed quotes of all time, and it originates at Horizons.
Wow.
New Horizons is music and lyrics by George Wilkins. Note, not Walt Disney. He did not write the lyrics for this one. Vocals by Gloria Kane and others. It is a 1981 Walt Disney Music co-production, and I'm going to read some of the lyrics because they're beautiful.
Okay.
"If you can dream it, then you can do it. Yes, we can. Have you ever looked beyond today, into the future, picturing a world we've yet to see? The wonder of finding new ways that lead to the promise of brighter days. Have you ever dreamed the dreams of children? Just imagine the magic their minds can see. If we can dream it, horizons, all shining and new. Horizons where dreams do come true."
Aww.
Pretty beautiful, right?
Beautiful.
And when you hear the music, it is very pretty. This is part...
It could be a fireworks show song.
Right. When we were just watching Epcot Forever, and this played as they were shooting fireworks off into the sky, I was like, oh my god, that's so beautiful.
Well, so we're in the interim show right now, and they play clips from current rides, old rides, so that's why it was playing.
Yes, it just...
In case you weren't aware that they're doing an interim show right now.
Yeah, they're doing a weird in-betweener.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I quite enjoy Epcot Forever.
When you throw Disney parks history into something, I'm there.
For real. We're the target audience.
Yeah,
it's for us.
Yeah, I mean, even when they added the little bit that they added into Enchantment to try to beef up Enchantment, or try to make Enchantment better or whatever, I was there. I was like, oh... Well,
we had literally asked for that exact thing. We were like, this would be amazing if they put like a little part of Small World and a little part of Haunted Mansion. And then they literally did exactly that.
It makes so much more sense to me than doing clips from animated movies, because you're there for the park.
Especially for the celebration shows.
It's like, I like the animated movies. I like them. I like them all year round. I like the songs from them. We could do whole episodes on that. But... if I'm getting pumped about the park, it's parks music I want to listen to.
Yeah.
So I just feel like the fireworks celebration shows to celebrate you being in the park should be about the park.
At least in part.
At least in part.
Yeah.
At least have one out of the 3 you've got going. Because Animal Kingdom can't have a fireworks show, although they can have a show.
Or just make it a section. The whole show can be about adventure, and some of the adventure can be through... Small World and Jungle Cruise and all the stuff you've got going on in the theme park. And I think that Disney very much sees the fireworks shows and parades as places where they can insert properties that you're not going to see in other parts of the park.
Does that make it feel like a commercial then?
At points, I think that's part of the difficulty with the nighttime shows, is that they start to feel a little, here's what's coming on Disney DVD. You know what I mean? Because there's no Encanto ride yet. People love Encanto. They want to see Encanto somewhere in the park. We'll stick it in the fireworks show.
Well, that's fine. And I do get that. Like, I get that. I don't know. I wish they would have something park focused, like we've always said. So then when they did it, it was great. And now this interim show, which we know isn't going to last very long, has some of it. And I'm like, oh, this is my favorite one.
Yeah, I'm glad I've gotten the chance to take it in. It's quite nice.
Yeah, it's like the fireworks for the kids, maybe the history and nostalgia for the adults.
Yeah.
I think it's a good blend.
And they got
I don't know why it's interim.
They got jet skis. They got jet skis.
Yeah.
That's for everybody. Kids, dads, everybody loves a jet ski.
Everybody loves a jet ski. All right.
What's next for you?
How many do you have left?
Well, you already did Big Bright Beautiful Tomorrow, so I have 2 left.
Okay, I have 3, so I'll go with my third one, and that's the Yo Ho Pirates Life for Me.
This one's on mine too. Go ahead.
So this song was written for the ride, just BT Dub, in case you think it came from a movie. The ride came first, then the movie. So it is so nostalgic, so catchy, so puts you in the pirate world. What do you think?
I love it. All the different pirate voices singing the song is so cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun. It's got such a spirit of adventure and whimsy, and it feels like a pirate drinking song.
It really does. I mean?
Yeah. It accomplishes its goal so well.
Yeah.
Xavier Atencio, Disney Imagineering legend, is responsible for this one. And it really bears all of the qualities of a great attraction song. It is immersive. It drives the plot forward. It sounds so correct in the environment because of the accents, because of the music matching up to the rhythm of the attraction so well.
I love how this song can be almost jovial and drinking party-like, and then get slowed down to like a creepy almost.
Yes, and in the cue of the line, and the cue of the ride is where you hear that kind of the most. Yeah. It's when they like play the different versions of it, and then you get it again at the finale of the ride. Right. And it's so
And they did it in the movie once, too. I remember in that first movie, they did that slowed down version, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Totally different vibe.
Cool. Yeah. It's awesome when the same melody can have such a range emotionally. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. A hallmark of good storytelling for sure.
Yes. Love that. Love that song. So, do you want me to go on with another one, or?
I've got one more.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to you.
No, you go, because I'm going to wind up saying it.
All right. It's Grim Grinning Ghost.
I knew it. That's my number 2. Tied for 1.
These are all the tops, yes. Like, Big Bright Beautiful Tomorrow was technically my number 1, but honestly, they're all in the same. All the Sherman Brothers, X Atencio, all those original. Yeah, this would be my number 1, actually, I think, if I really... But yeah, like you're saying, it's so hard. Yeah, Grim Grinning Ghost has a subtitle. It's called Grim Grinning Ghost, The Screaming Song. Ugh. I had never known. Wow, that takes it to a different level. Creepy, no? It's the theme song for the Haunted Mansion. It's, all the attractions. Catchy. Oh, yeah. Catchy for sure. Not really scary, but... No, it's kind of kooky, actually. If you listen to it, it's pretty kooky. It's composed by Buddy Baker with lyrics by Xavier Atencio, of course, all the originals. Also, something I didn't know about this, the title comes from a Shakespeare poem. Oh, I didn't know that either. The poem is called Venus and Adonis, and in it, they're talking about death. Hard-favored tyrant, ugly, meager, lean, hateful divorce of love. Thus she chides, death, grim-grinning ghost, earth's worm, what dost thou mean? Those are words. But grim-grinning ghost turns out Shakespearean, kind of fun. Yeah. Something I love about this is, like you were saying with Pirates, how the different parts of the graveyard scene, it's sung in different ways. Mm-hmm. At one point, the opera singer is singing it, and it's like beautiful and crazy. At one point, the singing busts are singing it in like a barbershop quartet kind of way. That's exactly what I was just about to say. Yeah, it like the different iterations of it, and they change meter, and it gets really interesting musically. It's a good composition, and it's the most nostalgic for me, I think. And on the album, it also plays like a ghost may follow you home and the hurry back. Yeah, it does all the things that give you all the nice Haunted Mansion creepy,
feels.
kooky feelings.
Yeah.
Big fan of the Grim Grinning Ghosts.
Me too.
You couldn't have the attraction without it, I don't think. It's inseparable in my mind. Can you imagine the Haunted Mansion and that last scene without that big, fun, whimsical musical number?
Right, yeah. It might be too scary. You know, I feel like this song really lightens everything up.
It does. And it's like, it's enough instruments and voices and stuff to help it feel like the grand finale.
Yeah.
As well, you know?
I feel like that song is how I want to feel in Haunted Mansion. And I hope that when they do the movie that's coming out in a few months, that they remember that.
It's got a little bit of that lightness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a horror movie?
I wouldn't say I'm looking for a horror movie. I don't mind if at times it feels creepy or suspenseful or whatever.
Right.
But I also hope, like you're saying, there are more of those jovial, lighthearted moments, because at the core of the Haunted Mansion, it was always meant to be a split between the macabre and the humorous.
Yeah, and what a good job they did.
Oh, they did it's very well balanced. I was afraid of it as a child, like a little afraid of it, but I would still ride it, which is the entire goal.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like Haunted Tower of Terror when I was young, obviously the ride system and the theming, it was all too scary for me. I would not ride it. Yeah. Haunted Mansion, it felt very accessible to me.
I agree.
Like, it was scary, but it was supposed to be scary for kids, not scary for, like, full adults. You know?
Right. So, I feel like we should have ended there, but I've got one left.
Oh, I want one more. What is it?
Okay, so my last one that would be, like, my number 2 is the instrumental music that plays before you get on Tower of Terror. Not in the room, in the queue. And this has affected me so much that whenever I hear like an instrumental, slower jazz piece of music, I'm like, ooh, it sounds like Tower of Terror.
Wow.
Yeah, like I don't go, oh, that's jazz.
That's that Tower of Terror.
I go, Tower of Terror.
Wow, that is a big impact.
Yeah.
So you're not referring to the classic. No, that's not jazz.
Although that's definitely a part of the ride that is iconic, I guess you would say. But no, because that's not Disney Parks. I don't know. But if you hear the jazz music that plays when you're in the queue for Tower of Terror,
it's
like you're there.
Is this in the lobby or is this in the boiler room? Or both?
No, in the lobby and outside of the outside, like in the queue that goes outside
in the gardens.
Right, the gardens.
I can hear the music that you're talking.
Yes. It's to me, it's just such a surprising way to put you in the 1920s, 30s.
Yeah.
30s?
It really works out.
I think the story is the 30s.
I think so too. I think it really works out because it's creepy.
Right.
But it doesn't.
From the outside of the hotel, if you didn't know the story already, you don't know you're in the 20s, I don't think. You know what I mean? Or you would if you read a sign maybe, but like the building doesn't scream Art Deco 1920s, 1930s, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like a normal hotel looking.
Once you get inside, sure, but from the outside, it just looks like a big, beautiful hotel.
But they've got that music, and you're like, you know.
Might be the past.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah. I don't know.
And it is. It is the past in there.
I think it's very transportive.
Yeah, honestly.
Theme of the podcast,
but also fairly subconscious.
Yes,
you know,
subtle.
It's like a subtle psychological.
And I don't know, like, if this was written specifically, any of these songs were written specifically for Disney. I don't know, because I didn't research like you. But it just does it. It
does the trick.
Yeah.
I think that it is so noteworthy that in these rides where the immersion factor is so good, so high, they always tend to have that really good score too. Because I think the Imagineers know that you can't have the full sensory immersive experience without having a really well thought out musical score in mind.
Yes.
So of course Tower of Terror has great music.
Right. And I think that you start hearing it as soon as you walk back into that area.
Which is also something that I really think is kind of underrated.
Yes.
It's like outdoor music.
You don't even realize you're surrounded by it, but you really always are.
And it just subconsciously just gets you in the right headspace to receive the story of the attraction.
Right.
All right.
That was fun.
That was a super fun little musical tour of Walt Disney World.
Shout out to Bailey for coming up with this topic.
Aw, thanks, Bailey. It turned out to be a great one. Maybe we'll do like a part 2 or a spin-off or something.
There are so many more.
There's so much music to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if you guys have enjoyed this, thank you so much for listening, or if you're on the YouTube version watching.
On the YouTubes.
Please make sure to like this video if you're on YouTube, comment, subscribe to the Neverland Navigation Co. YouTube channel where you can find the visual version of the podcast. Or if you're on the audio version, please subscribe and leave a review letting us know that you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, that would help us out a lot. You can find us on Instagram or TikTok at Neverland Navco.
Yes, or you can buy a shirt, a custom shirt, or a park-inspired shirt, or a dish towel over at the Neverland Navigation Etsy for all of your whimsical printing needs.
Send us a message on Etsy if you want something custom, because that's what we really do.
Yes, we'd be happy to make it
happen.
Musical for you. All right.
Yeah, have you seen people with that shirt that says like something about singing the Disney songs all day?
Oh no.
Oh, it's fun.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think I need that. After this episode and listening to the music before to prepare for this episode.
Or maybe we could do some with like some of the lyrics. Oh. Like some of the lyrics that are most popular.
In the different
fonts. How you can hear a lyric and automatically it's in your head. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be fun.
One little spark.
Yeah, one little spark.
All right. Thank you all for listening so much. And until next time, we will see you
on our next adventure.
Goodbye.